Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Cinema 9 podcast. I am Travis Roy. To my right, or sort of, is co host Eric Branstrom. And stepping in today in
Possibly.
place of our good buddy Mike Govier, who can't be with us today because I quote, life got the better of me, I think it was, is our good friend Luke Horlbeck.
With an echo. What's up, bro team?
Oh, that's unbearable.
With a terrible echo.
What is happening? Is that's you, Luke? I muted you, and we got some mad echo. So I'm going to ask you to figure that out, and then we'll bring you back on. But thank you, Luke, so much for coming on board with us. I guess I should probably let you mute yourself. Hey, is this fun to listen to? Does it sound like you're peeking behind the screen of and seeing how the sausage is made here at Cinema 9 Podcast? We're a little discombobulated today, but that's all right. Eric, how are things in Griffith, Indiana?
We're wonderful, man. I got to tell you, it's a beautiful Thursday. I've got my cup of coffee with French vanilla creamer, and I about an hour ago I ate a Klondike bar, and it's been like 10 years. Those are so good, man. Like, it was so good. I almost had another one, but that's kind of where my life is right now. Coffee and Klondikes.
That seems like a pretty good place. Luke,
Yeah.
Broteen, how you doing, buddy? Can you talk to us? He's shaking his head. All right. Well, our guest host may not actually be able to host, but we're really happy to have him viewing us from the perspective that he is. If you don't know, Luke is a co-host of another show that Mike Govier has called Is It Safe? So I encourage you to check that out. And Luke is, at this point, when he's able to come on, he is like our Tom Hanks to Saturday Night Live. He's like Paul Simon. He's like our go-to kind of most frequently tapped guest host. So we really appreciate him coming on.
He's a 3-time very welcome guest host whom you heard on the legendary Vanilla Sky episode, as well as the Other Guys and Blood Diner. So we've had a lot of fun with the legendary Luke Horlbeck over the past couple of years.
And I believe he was also on the Place Beyond the Pines episode with us as well.
Dude, you're absolutely right. And he may be just looking at us creepily from his basement cellar. But we really hope his audio comes through soon so we can talk Detroit in 1995.
So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with him. He's trying to talk to us, but this is I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
It's pantomiming rage.
Anyways, we're gonna get moving here. Oh, and I'm also doing well. I guess I'll check in with myself. I'm here in lovely Detroit, getting ready for some snowfall, hoping that maybe it will lead to no work tomorrow morning. We'll see, fingers crossed, even though it's like I'm paid hourly, so I kind of want to work. But also, I don't like driving in hazardous conditions. So, that's how I feel.
Remember snow days? Remember you'd get up and like look at the bottom of the screen and see if your county would come up. We'd see Livingston and be like, oh, hell yeah.
Well, that's the thing is I still get snow days because I'm a teacher. Mm-hmm. So I'm praying for a snow day. You're a teacher.
Yeah, I've had 4 snow days, but I've had to do e-learning. So I had to teach from my house on a snow day. It's been horrible.
That defeats the point entirely.
Yep. Oh, yep. Do I need to be unmuted?
Oh.
I was so convinced there was some like really in the weeds impossible problem to figure out that I didn't think to look at the mute button. When you enter the studio, you're automatically muted. I forgot about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, professional podcaster Luke Horlbeck has joined us.
Is the sound okay? Because I literally had to unconnect my mic.
We're just glad to have you. Don't even worry about it. You sound great.
I will hear about this from Mike later. I guarantee it. He'll be like, "What the hell was wrong with your sound?"
And rightfully so. But that's fine. It's good for now.
Oh, well, I heard what you guys were saying about me. Thankfully, it was all positive.
Nice things.
Yes, nice things. So thank you for having me back, guys. This is it's always a thrill. And when Mike asked me to do this, I was like, yeah, what are you guys watching? And he said 8 Mile, and I was like, thank God I watched that 2 days ago because I had no time.
What are the odds of you watching that movie 2 days ago? It's like it was meant to be.
I guess it was. Hopefully, whatever issues Mike Mike's life is throwing at him are not meant to be.
Yes, hopefully that is a passing storm cloud on an otherwise bright and sunny day.
Yes. Oh man. Okay. All right, guys. I'm sorry about that. That was terrible.
It's all right. It's okay. You're here now.
All right.
You're safe. It is safe here at this
Yes.
podcast. It actually is safe. We can tell you're in a safe space. You're in your own basement.
Thank you, sir. Yes, I am. I am in the bunker. This is the only place to record, and I don't think we can blur out our backgrounds unless you've got some kind of fancy, unless you pay for some kind of thing for
I don't know.
for this service.
This is all Mike's thing. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. It's like, well, people can see me, and now I'm like, oh my God, now I'm super self-conscious about my basement.
Yeah, you're used to being just invisible on Is It Safe, huh?
I'm used to being on Microsoft Teams, and I can just blur my backgrounds, so I never have to worry about it.
Gotcha.
All right.
Well, this is the part of the show where we typically talk about what we've been watching, the quarantine viewing picks section of the podcast. I'll get it started as I always do, although I'll be honest with you, I haven't been watching all that much. I've been listening to a lot of Mark Lanigan, R.I.P., and his many projects, but I haven't really had a lot of time to watch much. I went to visit family for an extended weekend, and I didn't really watch any movies down there with my mom. I did watch started watching that new HBO Max show. What's it called? The Gilded Age.
Okay.
Gonna mute you, Luke.
Moving the holiday boxes.
All right, you can mute yourself if you want to. Anyways, so I started watching the Gilded Age. I'm a fan of Julian Fellows. Me and my whole family, we all like Downton Abbey quite a bit. And as a historian, the Gilded Age is one of my favorite eras. Although so far a lot more attention has been being paid in the show to the gold part, not so much the rotten inside part. So I'm looking forward to a little bit more of an in-depth analysis into the disparity of the era. I also checked in with, from 2007, this Neil Gaiman based film Stardust. You guys ever see this movie? I remember it coming out vaguely, and I thought
with Nathan Fillion, right?
No,
he's in the show.
No, that you're thinking of
Firefly. Sorry,
yeah,
my bad.
It's okay.
Yep.
So this is a fantasy film from Neil Gaiman, and the cast is huge. Charlie Cox and Claire Danes or Dane. I'm suddenly blanking. That woman.
It's got an S on the end.
Okay,
yeah.
her. She's in it. As is like Michelle Pfeiffer, Robert Downey Jr., and some of the worst work I've ever seen him do. Rupert Everett just blowing in. Mark Strong. This cast is like nuts. Jason Fleming. This cast is just insane. But it's weird because it's like I'm watching this movie. I've never seen like a less likable protagonist, I think, than Charlie Cox in this movie. But it's got just great reviews. People apparently really love Stardust. Maybe I'll revisit it in a few years and like it the way I did Captain America: First Avenger. I have been trashing this movie since 2011 and saying it's the worst Marvel movie, but I showed it to my 12th grade history class because kind of a treat. Like we're doing the era. I was talking about, I found a way to wedge in things like Himmler's obsession with the occult and Operation Paperclip and that kind of stuff. I found ways to like try and make this remotely tangentially something I could show them so they could glean something historical from it. And you know what? It's a decent period piece. It's a good Marvel movie. I don't know why I've been so rough on it. I actually really enjoyed it.
Cool, man. Yeah. It's Joe Johnston, so it's like got the whole like very light fare, very mild.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the action sequences in it, and to be honest, I think the action sequences are pretty light, like too. You know what I mean? I don't know. They're too like summer blockbustery, and the climax of the final fight between Red Skull and Captain America is pretty anticlimactic. But other than that, pretty decent movie. And that's all I watched. That and 8 Mile. I didn't watch much.
Dang. And Hugo Weaving was fucking awesome as Red Skull.
Oh yeah, he was perfect for Red Skull. I mean, he really was. Schmidt.
Perfect for just about any villain ever. when you need a villain that is almost like interdimensional, that's the guy you pick. It's
Exactly.
like he's
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, there's something kind of out of this world about him.
Yes. Yes.
So, what about you, Eric? What have you been watching?
Well, been a slow week for me too, man.
Oh,
I don't know what's going on with both of us. Like these days are getting so short. It's like I come home from work and I like eat trash and go to bed. So I'm sitting there watching 1940s Pinocchio, the original animated film, second animated feature from Walt Disney. And man, it's been a hell of a long time. And as the film progresses, I'm confronted with scene after scene of the most horrific things you can imagine happening to, granted, a wooden boy. But I mean, let's break this down. As soon as he comes to life, he gets abducted by I'm going to try this anthropomorphic fox man named Honest John. Who there's no more of these like in the entire world. It's just this one creature called Honest John who has a fox head, and he abducts who he thinks is a boy, forces him into a stage show. Yeah. And when that doesn't work out, he's sold to this fucking guy called the Coachman and sent to what do they call this place? Pleasure Island? Pleasure Island.
Yeah.
I
want to go there.
Along with many other boys to Pleasure Island to drink beer, smoke, and eventually get turned into animals. It's fucked. Like, what is this story?
Well, that was one of the scariest things I ever saw as a child. It really was disturbing.
It's the original body horror. I mean, it's like, I mean, the book honestly kind of is in a way, and the movie is too. I say that like I've read the book. I've never read the book, but but that Disney movie certainly is. And yeah, there's something going on with the whole Pleasure Island thing, and they're saying things about manhood here that I'm not sure I've ever quite understood. You know, you're conscious
to be said, but I mean, every year there's an adaptation, and body horror, dude. David Cronenberg, I'm waiting for his adaptation. The king of body horror taking on Pinocchio on Pleasure Island.
Well, we're getting Guillermo del Toro this year. So,
are you serious?
Oh, Geppetto, bring it.
Okay. Is Vigo going to be Geppetto?
It's animated, right?
Guillermo's there's two coming out. There's one like every year. Roberto Benigni just made one last year.
Again?
So Guillermo del Toro's doing the CGI. Yeah. Guillermo's doing the CGI one, and then Bob Zemeckis is doing the live action with Tom Hanks as Geppetto. Like, I don't know what's going on here. Like,
I think it's one of those that's easy to remake because I think that original has some kind of odd teetotaler like slice to it where it is about abstinence and preventing kids from doing wrong and getting into trouble and all that, and you can kind of like use that in any framework you want. I mean, if you want to make it an anti-fascist film, you can make it an anti-fascist film. If you want to be anti-capitalist, you can do that, but they probably won't. But you can really merge that onto anything. So I can see why it keeps. Yeah. I mean, there are so many ways you can make it work.
Well, that and it's recognizable IP that's in the public.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
public ownership. So that helps. Is that all you watched, Eric?
Other than that, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been watching a lot of old episodes of The Price is Right on YouTube with Bob Barker. I don't know, dude. It's cozy. And last night, they seriously, you know how you got to bid on an item before you can get onto the stage? A fucking microwave oven went for $750 in 1978. $750 for a microwave.
Doesn't sound worth it.
Yeah, but...
Eric is doing price analysis on consumer goods.
I really am
for the last 50 years.
Yeah, oil of Olay over $5 in 1980. Incredible. Shame to say that is it. 20 episodes of The Price is Right and Pinocchio.
All right, is oil of Olay cheaper now? I feel like it's got to be cheaper now.
I don't know.
Exist?
But the commercial for it in 1980 was one of the classic, like early 80s where like they're in Japan and there's like gongs and it's like the mysteries of the Orient just because like an Asian woman is putting it on. It's cringeworthy.
Classic.
Yikes. What about you, Luke? Yeah. You've been watching movies lately besides 8 Mile, incidentally?
Yeah, no, I did. I watched 8 Mile and I After the Super Bowl, I was like, man, I haven't seen 8 Mile in years. So yeah, that I watched obviously, and oh, I did have a joke pre-prepared for that. I was gonna say, oh, you mean I shouldn't have just been watching lose yourself videos all day? But I've already missed that opportunity. I watched two movies today
No,
that both both were good, both were interesting. I watched Antlers, which I'm sure I'm late to the party on.
I liked it,
Okay.
and
Hated it.
Oh, Eric hated it. Okay.
Awful.
Too bad we're not talking about that. I feel like could have really had a lot of conversation there. And I watched the new Texas Chainsaw, which I did not know existed.
so feel good movies.
Two feel good movies today. Yeah, I work from home, so while I'm crunching data and looking at freaking spreadsheets,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I can do to wake my mind up and feel alive again.
How's the new
That's
Texas
sad.
Chainsaw? I heard it was horrible.
Oh, I guess it depends on who told you that and what their angle was.
I'm guessing it's someone who watched it and thought it was horrible.
That's what I guess too, but that's not enough information. No, I
How
mean
about
my
what you
buddy,
thought?
my buddy put it the best way because he and I were just having a chat about this about an hour ago that it pays off on all the ways it's supposed to pay off. I mean, it is. We all know what this property is. We all know what that film is supposed to be. But in these movies, they often just they withhold the monster for so long in these films, and then it never quite pays off in the way that like people who are fans of kind of splatter horror and all that really want. Not that that's really my thing, but I thought that it was. I thought it was really well done, especially for the fact that this is now like the sixth or seventh movie done for this overall franchise. It's a direct sequel to the original. I
Oh,
think it probably skips over the original sequel with
Hopper.
Hopper. Thank you. So I think it probably skips over the original sequel, although I don't remember that one. I saw it like way too long ago, and it is it's fairly dynamic. It has a really good setup. I thought it was great. It's basically sets the entire story set up with these like millennials driving a Tesla are going through Harlow, Texas, and they buy essentially an entire town, like
Yeah.
a little town, like a ghost town. What you would see as a ghost town. Um, like a theme park area.
Mm-hmm.
So they buy a whole town, which contains what 15, 20 or 30 buildings or something like that. And they own one of the buildings and they're going to open up restaurants and they bring all these fucking millennial dipshits down from New York and they're going to, or from Austin, actually. I just assumed New York, but they're coming down from Austin and they've all got a ton of money and they're just like auctioning off these buildings. So this town that's been absolutely obliterated completely, has fallen into a complete state of disrepair is being like picked for fucking the bones are being picked apart. And these kids are like they make a very good point to say like these are all fucking like they're like teenagers, and nobody over like the age of 30 is in this group. And they bring this whole bus down, this like tourist bus, and all these kids file out and they just sit they sit in their chairs and they start bidding on these properties and they just start buying them up. And meanwhile, there are people that still live there who are, witness to this and, has a lot of clear implications for kind of shit that's happening now. And then when Leatherface really has his go at it, there are people trying to like TikTok him because, they don't realize it's fucking real. And so there's a lot of that stuff going on and thought that was entertaining. Obviously, I don't think we want to hear me talk about that for 35 minutes, but it was worth a watch. I mean, it's definitely worth a watch. And the fact that someone Eric knows hates it Eric hated it and somebody else liked it. Wait, was that you?
You're
I
thinking
heard
of
bad
Antlers.
things. Yeah.
Oh, so
I
Antlers.
dislike Antlers.
Anyhow, you haven't seen Texas. I think you should see
No,
it. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it. It's worth a watch. It's good.
All right.
It's good. It's good enough. It's worth discussing, which is usually that's usually the bar that I have. If I can talk about it with other people, then that's worth watching.
Is there many movies that you find that you have nothing to say about?
No, not me.
I
But
didn't think so.
if I can't talk to somebody else about it, like if someone's
Ah,
like, dude, I can't even, yeah, this is worthless, then yeah,
there's fruit on that
maybe I
vine.
wouldn't
I
recommend
see.
it. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Cool. So you'd recommend both those movies then?
Yeah.
All right.
I'd say
Cool.
go. I'd say go for it.
All right. Well, those are the movies that we have been watching, guys, which means that we're segueing from that a little bit early, but that's okay, into, I guess, the actual movie itself, which is 8 Mile. Last week, it was Eric's turn to choose what the next film we would explore would be, and inexplicably, the man chose 8 Mile. Eric, the floor is yours. Tell us, why did you choose 8 Mile?
Yeah, I told you that it was going to be a risky choice, and I was on the fence for a long time on this one. But I just been thinking about it recently, man. Like Eminem has been popping up in the news, and he's up for like Hall of Fame induction this year. And I don't know. I just got to thinking about him, and then I started thinking about this film. The fact that 20-year anniversary is upon us in November, and this was a big deal, man. In 2002, a lot of people were talking. Mostly, the question of the day was two questions: can this guy act, and why is Curtis Hanson making a movie about Slim Shady? So it definitely got me thinking, man. And what else I was going to say? Like, the state of Detroit is a big topic, and sadly Mike isn't here, but I'm really glad Luke is here so we can talk, a little bit about the D and what's been going on the past 20 years in terms of like its almost characterization as this society blight and all this sort of stuff, and just how film has treated it, over the past 20 some years plus. I just thought it'd be a conversation starter because as much as our podcast is, about examining films that we really, really used to love and getting another look at them, I think there's an opportunity to just look at big films in general and take a discerning eye back at them. So yeah, it was a risky choice, but I'm excited to talk about it, I guess.
Okay, great.
I love that you finished that with I guess.
Well, you'll find out why pretty soon.
Okay.
Good.
Luke, do you remember when you first came to this movie?
Yeah, I think I saw it. I saw this in the theater. So, what was the release date? 2001? Is that what it was?
November
November.
2002. This was massive. Second highest grossing R-rated film of all time in 2002.
Second highest grossing R-rated.
R-rated film. That's right.
Do you know what the first one was?
No.
Just out of curiosity. Wow, that is amazing. So that's cool. I saw it then, and I probably didn't see it for. Oh, I probably didn't see it till about, I don't know, 10 years ago. I think maybe me and Mike watched it actually,
Oh yeah.
just on a lark. And then I watched it randomly this last week because, yeah, Eminem's been popping. He's back in the news, and the Super Bowl happened, and there was just a lot of commentary and whatnot that was going on. I felt like, yeah, let's revisit and see if it was any good, because I remember liking it at the time. I have no memory of the time I watched it 10 years ago, but I do have a memory of being in college and watching it and thinking it was good, and thinking that he was an amazing actor, just
Oh,
a just a like a world class actor. But I
really?
don't have that. I don't have that same feeling now. That's what I thought when I was 21.
Okay. Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, 22.
There you go.
Well, because he was like a rapper and not an actor, and the fact that he could like pull it off was so mind blowing to me. But I think maybe I viewed that. Yeah,
Sure. I mean, there's no shortage of rappers who became truly great actors. I mean, Mos Def, Common. There's some really good rappers
Will
turned
Smith.
actors out there.
16 blocks. Oh my God, Mos Def is amazing in that.
Incredible.
Yeah. So I watched 8 Mile when it came out on DVD or VHS. I guess it would have been DVD by that point. Pretty much because a guy that we went to high school with was in it, and also because it took place in Detroit, and I watched it then, and I had not watched it again until last night. So I am ready to discuss it. Do you guys have any guesses on what the IMDb rating for this thing is?
You know what? I think this gets a lot of attention. I'm going to say it's high. I'm going to say maybe a 7.3.
Luke, what do you
No,
think?
I'll give it a 7.9. I feel like it's not quite an
7.9.
8, but I feel like it's there.
That's high. Okay, I was gonna say a 7.0. I think it's gonna be high, but I don't think it's gonna like 7.9. That's like that's
It's like
that's 8. That's 12
Godfather
Angry
2.
Men territory.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
high.
good. Is that 12 Angry Men? Did 12 Angry Men didn't even break 8?
7.9 is really high, dude. Let's see.
All right.
Survey says 8 Mile is a score of 7.1.
Wow.
Yep, 7.1.
Okay.
Well, do we understand the metrics that are involved here? I mean, I don't know what's going into this. What are the inputs?
I don't know. I mean, people click things. I just rated it myself. I'm not going to tell you what I rated it, but I just rated it. People do that. That's
Did you rate it? Did you rate it a 7.9?
Well, you can't rate it fractions, unfortunately. But let's see what the people had to say about it.
Okay.
Let's check out some reviews here. Some critics' reviews.
Yeah, because I noticed I was befuddled when I saw the thermometer review versus critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I thought it would be inverse to what it actually was. I think the critics gave it like a 74, whereas the audience score popcorn was dumped over. It was like 54. I would have figured the critics were like, "This is fucking stupid," but
Yeah.
audiences were all pumped up and excited.
Well, I'm not seeing Destin Thompson. I can tell you that right now from the start. So that's unfortunate. But Roger Ebert, he had something to say about it. Let's see. He says, pale, depressed Jimmy Smith Jr. skulks through a life that has been so terribly unkind to him. That's how it starts off. I don't know where Mike gets the like shortened versions. That was like it brought me to like the whole thing there. I don't know where he gets it all.
He probably
Mike
is
usually does
reading
his
it.
part.
He's reading it directly from Rotten Tomatoes, which has the blurbs. That's it.
Is that what he's
If
doing?
you just don't click into the review. You just like go to the main page.
Oh, I thought he was getting them from IMDb. So that's
Oh, absolutely not.
oh well, that explains that. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and read a bunch of reviews if I have to go hunting for them, because that will involve a whole bunch of vamp time that will be really dull for anyone to listen to. I'll see what else I can come up with off the top of my head. BBC, let's see. BBC News, Peter Bowes chimed in with Eminem's performance in 8 Mile is somewhat stilted, but nonetheless believable. A powerful film, gritty, sometimes frightening, occasionally funny, and ultimately inspiring.
Get your thesaurus out for this one from Tom Gelato from People Magazine. The story of 8 Mile isn't far removed from Eminem's own self-mythologized life, a Jerry Springer-style saga out of Detroit, but the unslakable anger is gone.
Wow.
Good word.
Yeah, that's a fun one. You don't get to throw, I mean, even slake, you don't get to throw around very often, let alone unslakable. That's a fun one.
Isn't that one of those that's like unslake? Is slake a word? I've never used slake, nor have I ever read it. It's like
Right?
bunk and debunk. Like is bunk a word? You debunk something.
Right.
I guess it's because something is full of bunk. I guess you
Right.
debunk it. So yeah, I
Right.
guess that makes sense. All right, never mind.
That has everything to do with slake. Any
Damn.
more? You got any
Well,
more?
how do you
Eric?
want to
Oh,
attack
slake
this?
is to quench or satisfy your thirst. Okay, I did not
Right.
realize that.
Right.
All right. Yeah, no, I've got one for you. This is from Rotten Tomatoes, which actually was fairly quick Google.
I didn't put any
Travis?
effort in. I put
Yep.
0 effort in.
All right, David Walsh from the World Socialist website. I can't believe they're getting press.
Gee, Luke, where'd you find that one?
It's on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, right.
That's
Bookmark.
didn't even realize that was. Anyways, flashes of genuine rebellion appear in 8 Mile, but there are few and far between. The film's conclusion is thoroughly conformist and predictable. I can't disagree with that. A lot of the themes and language in the movie hasn't aged well. The soundtrack is amazing, though. That's
Dude.
solid. That's a great wrap up right there from
How
Brandon
about-
Collins at Medium Popcorn, which
about
basically explains the review.
How about a movie where a dude is going to come in and like be a like try and take on homophobia and use a bunch of homophobic slurs to do so. That's awesome. Very
Are
cringy.
you?
I'm like, oh
I
boy.
feel like you may be jumping ahead to some of your real thoughts.
Well, look, so let's get into the movie itself, but I'm gonna I'm gonna tilt my hand a little bit. If you're a regular listener, thank you for joining us. As always, we ask that you please chime in with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We've been locked into 25 reviews there for months. We desperately ask you to please, somebody, one of you out there, click a button for us. Thank you. But if you are chiming, if you're coming in here and checking us out for the first time, you're like, oh, 8 Mile. That's one of my favorite movies. Let's see what these strangers have to say. I'm going to tell you in advance. I'm not going to bash this movie, but I don't think I have a lot of really good things to say. This isn't going to be a love fest on my end. I'll tell you
And
right
if you're
now.
still gonna stick around because, well, maybe the other two guys like it, I can tell you that this movie is fucking trash. So it's up to Luke to have the only positive viewpoint. So I'm excited to hear what you say.
I've got a couple of positive things to say.
Yeah,
I do
I'm
too.
joking, but I mean, well, just a quick comment here because I think Felix Gonzalez Jr. from the DVD review nails it. He says Rocky with a rap beat, and that's essentially what we have here is this underdog story of someone who's very talented, presumably getting like their shot and like the trials and tribulations up until this opportunity presents itself and they do or die. Problem right off the bat in this film, as we kind of dive into it narratively, is we don't really get to see what this guy is capable of until like over an hour into the movie. If you're going to do like the Rocky, Saturday Night Fever, or like even Flashdance thing, you have to show how talented the person is right off the bat so you can have something to grab onto so you can support them. This is just like, well, he choked, and then you got to sit around until he sulks, as Ebert tells us, for the next hour. Why?
This is a big problem for the movie because you are supposed to believe that this is Rabbit, this is not Eminem, but the whole movie, your faith in the character's abilities is based on him as Eminem, not as this Rabbit character, because you see him choke, you see him writing some lyrics, he does one rap in that lunch line, which apparently that's what the Detroiters do on their lunch break. I don't remember ever doing that, but he has that, which is like kind of deliberately kind of not that great. It's okay. And then we don't really.
You didn't like when he said, "You've been working at a plant so long, you're a plant." That wasn't genius rhyming.
That was rough, and that was also the scene I already referenced where he's like using a ton of homophobic slurs in defending the one gay character whose job in the movie is to be gay, and then he raps towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get to witness it.
But that was the critique that my buddy was bringing up about monster movies and things like Halloween and all that, is like it takes way too long to get to the monster, and that is a problem with this movie. That's a good point, because I was watching it when I was rewatching it recently. I could not believe that. Oh my God, yeah, the choke scene happens right in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then literally nothing until he's rapping in that lunch line. And then it's not bad, I guess, in that context, but it was, I mean, in this day and age, I mean, it's 20 years later, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has definitely not aged well, but he is defending the one gay guy. He is using homophobic slurs. Right. But he is defending that guy against the dude that is attacking him, against Exhibit.
Let's not forget. Let's not forget. I think Eminem's actually using it as this media comeuppance for his past transgressions. I mean, this is a guy who's got a history of homophobic, disgusting comments that he tries to make up for by attending Elton John's fucking like Grammy ceremony with some fucking ring. He's full of shit. And to have him shoehorn in these apologetic comments towards homosexuals in this movie is an insult.
Honestly, the only thing more naked than that and obvious than that attempt to rehabilitate his image in that moment is the blatant cash grab that this movie is. Because I mean, basically they just went, well, Eminem's famous, let's make a movie with Eminem where he plays Eminem and people will come to see it. And they did. And I'm not going to say that the movie has nothing to say. I did kind of make a note where I'm like, this movie has nothing to say. But towards the end of it, I'm like, okay, I actually think there is some stuff going on here in terms of believing in yourself, etc., and not necessarily looking to others, even if you have a supportive friend base, like a crazily, almost obsessive supportive friend base, still to try and like carve your own way. And that's cool. But there's no real reason for this movie to exist. I mean, rap battles.
Okay.
Rap battles.
This is the
Let's
thing.
fight with raps.
My
Rap
third
fighting.
graders, my third grade class, they do this like on recess every day. Like kids do this for fun. And like every single scene of these rap battles, I'm thinking to myself, like, this is fucking childish, man. This is so infantile. And like, it's been 20 years since I seen it. And I kind of had this inkling in the back of my mind, like, oh, like when's he gonna sing Lose Yourself? That song's, pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of forgot that no, it's just berating and insulting your opponent like to win. It's like this is so negative and ugly.
But that is what rap battles are.
I know.
Have you been to a rap battle?
Dude, come the fuck on.
Luke,
they're insane.
You know I haven't been to any fucking rap battles.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the
God.
exact opposite thing. Like, come on, dude. Fuck. Of course I've been to rap battles.
I've been to as many rap battles as I've been to Velociraptor orgies. I mean, no fucking way.
All right. Full disclosure. I've been to two, but they get fucking filthy. But that is the style, that is the art form as it is.
And that
is something that is like part of this context in this story. That is the way you win in this story. It could have been a basketball game in a basketball movie, but it's not a basketball movie. It's a rap movie.
And this movie, like, I can watch a basketball movie and maybe get something from it. But again, full disclosure,
dude, that surprises me that you would get more out of a basketball game at the end of a movie than you would out of a rap battle.
I cannot think of a movie less suited for me than this. Other than
how about Hoosiers? I feel like Hoosiers would be the least Travis Roy suited movie of all time.
I at least have played basketball. I've never rapped.
Oh, but you sing. You understand what it's like to have that pressure.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, man. Like, I'm just not the audience for this movie. I mean,
So it's good that Eric picked it.
I actively dislike Eminem's music. I actively dislike rap music. It's just this. I'm not the person for this. So if you like this, just discount everything I have to say.
Well,
that's a fair disclaimer. That's okay.
I mean, a lot of critics were saying that there wasn't enough rap or even music in the film. It's a valid point, because what we do have and what we are given is scene after scene of just cliched obstacles in this cartoonish Detroit that seems very silly. Like, Luke, your friend talks about, I can disagree with them, like not showing like having to wait forever to see the monster. I mean, that can work. I mean, that's why The Exorcist is so good, because they build it up for over an hour, or Jaws. In this, they're not building shit up. They have this character with Rabbit that is in the most simple, like overdone cliche. It almost just becomes silly for me. I mean, this plot, Scott Silver writes the screenplay, a fantastic writer, Joker, The Fighter, and they deliberately make it only semi autobiographical. You're going to tell me that Eminem's real life isn't more interesting than what they came up with here?
Oh, I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that critique, that the Hollywoodizing of this didn't help it at all. There was no reason to do that. What he actually went through would have probably made some of the other violations of the film actually easier to swallow, because you you would see why he, used the N-word when he was 16. You would see why he was so aggressive and angry. I mean, his mother had Munchausen syndrome. They didn't talk about that at all in this film. She was literally poisoning him and making him sick. That is an unbelievable violation of trust and faith for a baby and a child. And why do you think he has all this rage? He is getting his ass beat every single fucking day. Well, maybe not every single fucking day, but on a very regular basis, getting his fucking bike stolen. He got his fucking head shoved into a toilet so hard he fucking lost consciousness, and he got beat to near death twice. Like that. Those are things that do seem to form a part of your like worldview, I think. I mean, from a very personal and subjective point of view, obviously, but like, how in the fuck could you think otherwise? And so then I wonder, okay, the cliches are things that are added into his life. They're not things that come out of his life. That's the real sin in this, is Hollywood got a hold of somebody that actually does have a very worthy story to tell, and they just destroyed it and made it good enough to get enough people in the seats and released. I'm sure Lose Yourself was released before the movie. I'm guessing.
Well, look,
I can't remember.
that gets to it. I mean, this movie feels like how in the late 90s and early 2000s, rap videos and music videos in general often would have like this 5-minute short film that would start it.
Yes.
Only here it's an hour, or it's like a 2-hour film, and then you finally actually get to the video.
You nailed it.
Song. That's literally what it feels like.
It's bad. Michael Jackson's bad. That's like a 13-minute prologue directed by Marty Scorsese until you even get to the video. That's this movie.
Hey, did you know that the actual trailer park that it was filmed at, I could practically throw a rock and hit from my house?
No way.
It's real close.
Shannon in the face for me, because his performance was not doing it for me.
That's another thing. They didn't need to use a trailer park.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying that's another thing. They didn't need to use a trailer park for that.
They didn't,
because he grew up. Because he grew up in a house on 7 Mile. I don't know if you can rent a mobile home, but she's getting evicted from it. I guess you could be late on payments. You can get evicted from anything, but
you could rent the lot and own the home too.
Yeah. Okay. I forget. That's a little complicated. But they were in a house on 7 Mile. It's weird that they even did that. Why would they change that? It had to be a trailer park, because everybody in the world needs to see this as the most abject situation in the world, and to libs that would see this, or suburbanites that would actually go see this, it matters what kind of domicile you actually have. If you're in a house, then you can't be that poor, right?
Right.
Fuck.
Right. Especially if he's white and he's poor, so he must live in a trailer home, and obviously you're going to give his mother some sort of Southern accent, even though.
Don't get me started.
Is that a Michigan accent, Kim? What are you trying to pull off there?
You just can't.
It's unreal.
It is like she's learning to act on the job.
Oh my.
Okay. God. Yeah. Oh, she was, because I feel like she had not worked in a while, and she was like, I could, yeah.
I'm gonna win an Oscar for this one.
What were we saying about Shannon? Because
not his best work.
I mean, you got to start somewhere. But I mean, just the fact that how often do you get a movie about? And I can dig its approach. All right, let's get a movie that doesn't. It's not about a bunch of fucking rich people getting opportunities. It's about poor people doing the best they can. But when you have a movie that takes place in Detroit about an up-and-coming rapper, and then literally have the story revolving, and that's the worst part, it's not a biography. So it's just about a white kid in Detroit trying to become a rapper, and literally having the fucking balls to tell a bunch of African Americans at the shelter that they don't understand what it's like to be poor or judged by other people. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Okay.
That's
All right.
Good point. But you brought up the shelter, And if we're going to talk about Detroit and filming in Detroit,
let's do it.
What in the fuck? I mean, like, not the shelter. It's not filmed in the shelter, so it doesn't look anything like the shelter on the inside.
Right.
And the exterior shots are some other place as well. Like, they literally, like, I'm sorry, I've been to the shelter a million times. In that era, they were like busy, but they could have used some of that Hollywood money. I cannot believe that they could not get access to renting that place out to shoot a movie. It's really shocking to me that you're gonna make so much of this movie about the shelter that you don't even fucking see the shelter. It seems silly to me.
Swear to God, I thought it was because the place next to it. Okay, so maybe it wasn't. And I just
No, it was a warehouse that the interior was a warehouse.
You're right. The interior is definitely different, and I think the facade is different too. Yeah,
it is.
The facade is different.
It is a church. It is an actual church with the facade. So they tried to make it look like St. Andrews, which I get, but it's not St. Andrews.
Yeah, that's probably some dumb fucking rights thing, but
yeah, it's still frustrating to be, because I mean, it is kind of fun to watch the movie and be like, oh, I've been to a Little Caesars in Warren. That's exciting. But so much of what you actually do see of Detroit is urban decay porn. It's just like, let's show the worst of the worst
the
here.
Stupid blue filter and movie Detroit. Come on with that bullshit.
It's like the yellow filter in Mexico. I know they do the same thing with Detroit. It's always fucking blue.
But yeah, man.
Well, Eric, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you. Go ahead and finish your thought. But I
was kind of glad you did that.
Okay, good. Yeah. No, I take issue with what you were. I take issue with what you were saying.
Please.
All right. There's the common shared experience in Detroit and places like Detroit, which is that wherever you are within the kind of like city boundary lines, like your shared experience of suffering and poverty is completely shared across cultural and racial lines, etc. You are all experiencing that as one community, as it were. And I caught this on the kind of like second really quick viewing here that I had while I was like scrolling through the movie before the pod as fast as I could. And in the first time the free world shows up, they talk about like, we're in the free world or whatever they said. And they here's what they said, like he goes, "You 313 bitches is wet." These guys are not from Detroit. However, the people that Eminem is battling with are from Cranbrook, which is a private school, which is a fucking big line in the movie. But he is battling against people that aren't even from here. And it's not about telling African Americans that they don't have a shared experience of the kind of poverty and suffering that he's gone through. It is about calling out this fucking class divide. And like, it doesn't matter what fucking color you are. You can be upper class and black, and you can be lower class and white. And that is one of the few things I think this movie does right. I think it might be the only thing or the main thing. Like, him being accepted as a rapper is like totally contingent upon his ability to assimilate into a different culture. The rapper like ness of him, like the ability to like reach the heights that he's gotten to, it becomes part of the overriding narrative, even within even though at the heart of this is the fact that like he's suffering is what gives him the license to participate in the social world that is kind of prima facie different and unique compared to his own. But it's not. It's like the activities that he's doing is something that he is participating in that actually gives him license to be part of that world, which means it gives him like license to be part of a broader community, a true community. However, to some of the reviews that we were talking about earlier, it is some kind of part of this is like proletarian claptrap, and maybe it's not revolutionary in any way because it's directed by someone like Curtis Hanson, who doesn't have a political bone in his body, really. He just likes telling like fun stories. And I'm sure they washed out a bunch of other shit in this that was more important. but he's not telling African Americans that they don't understand poverty. He is experiencing it himself, very real. And his best friend was fucking duty, was proof. And they both experienced this shit together.
I can accept
So
those
that
points.
I do not understand.
The Oscar music playing.
Anyway, yeah, no, get off this day. I guess all I'm saying is
Okay.
I'm not sure I needed yet another white guy trying to tell other people how they should react to them. Get off the stage literally and let someone else's voice be heard, especially all these other people. They make all the other characters besides Rabbit doofuses. Like his opponents are cartoon characters. They're morons. Okay, we're supposed to just see this one white dude as the only guy who wants to get out of this hellhole and better himself. Everyone else is villainous, double-crossing trash, especially the only 3 women in the movie. The message here about women is
it's very
disgusting.
misogynistic.
It's disgusting. You've got a mother who you can't trust, a girlfriend, 2 girlfriends that end up being distrustful. I mean, what is this message?
I'd like to address that as well, but before I'd like to. You were talking about Community, Luke, and about Detroit and all this stuff about that. I'd like to talk about his roots, his family. He treats these people like garbage. I mean, he just
In real life,
in the film, dude. I'm talking about the movie.
Oh, okay.
He blows into his.
Sorry, it's weird.
He blows into his mother's home without knocking, and she's mid fuck. And she gives him a car. He scowls at her and says, I gotta go to sleep because I work in the morning. I'm like, dude, you can't even say thank you. Then he spends the rest of the movie complaining about her, fucking with her life, complaining to her, blah, 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 being really ungrateful to her, getting really upset when the new girl he's seeing and his buddy dare to talk to her for a minute. And not to mention all of this is punctuated with the occasional scene of this 7-year-old girl getting irrevocably traumatized over and over again, because this hothead cannot stop throwing fists with everybody who remotely disagrees with him. And it's just like, dude, again, you're fighting. Like, why are you fighting? Why are you angry now?
Yeah.
Like, this is exhausting. But I actually do think I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say I think that is part of the complication with the fact that this is pseudo based on somebody's real life, and so I'm diving in one way and another. If I'm looking at this strictly just as what's on the screen, I'm sharing that point of view completely. I just think they warped his fucking experience for cinematic purposes.
Yeah.
And I don't think it paid off. I think every point you're making is correct.
And that gets to my point earlier about you have to have like this meta thing where you watch the movie where you're thinking of the character both as Rabbit and as Eminem. Like you literally have to do that to enjoy the movie. But to your point about Eric, about misogyny and about the way women were treated, I agree. Like it is pretty grotesque and it's not handled well at all. Pretty much all the women are pretty bad, except for like I'm this. So Alex, Brittany Murphy's character, as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, what's the fucking problem? Like, you didn't put a ring on her finger. You didn't even go on one date. You were a 1 minute chump in a corner of your factory somewhere.
It's a good minute. I mean, you know how important minutes are when you're on the clock? I don't think you understand. No, you do understand, actually. You worked in a factory, so you know.
But
let's
honestly,
not.
What is
every minute counts, and I'll tell you what, if I give you 1 minute, oh my God.
Let's not disregard the fact
they're not remotely together. Like, why is he like, dude, what the fuck you think you are? Go ahead, Eric. Sorry.
I mean, let alone putting this poor girl in danger. Is this not the worst place to have sex, right next to random industrial strength pneumatic machinery?
Well, he actually hits her in the face when he's beating up his buddy later for fucking her. You don't really see it, but when he's beating on his buddy, he whips back and kind of like forearms her across the face and it pushes her back on the ground. Because
yet another slight allusion to his real life before this movie came out, mind you.
I don't know, but I will say that the only surprise in the movie was that
Allegedly.
he doesn't end up with her, and that she doesn't, and that she cheats on him, but except for the fact, again, she's not fucking cheating on him because they have no formed relationship. They barely know each other. It's not a relationship.
It's just
Yeah,
another plot obstacle.
Yeah, it is probably the worst, just the kind of worst fundamental part of this, and the architecture of this film is like, okay, you tell a story, and everybody knows that all screenplays have a certain, just a certain record, like a certain type of scaffold, and this, it just doesn't quite. That does not work in this situation, and I feel like Curtis Hanson did the thing that everybody does, which is they turn Detroit into like blight porn,
Mhm.
and they get so obsessed with that they think that you don't even have to have a story. All you have to do is have a car driving down a fucking road showing all the blighted buildings, and that's the story. And it's like, it could be, but if you're trying to tell that story, fine, but you're not, and you're trying to tell, it's a complete fucking shortcut, and
Mhm.
it's, to me, it's fairly vile, and to me, it's fairly vile on the part of Curtis Hanson. I feel like Curtis Hanson manipulated Eminem. I really do, like, as an actor and as somebody who wanted to be part of something that he thought was positive in Detroit and was maybe a good story to tell. And of course, if somebody's going to pay you a bunch of money to be in a movie about your life, why would you say no? And you just came from the bottom, now you're here, so of course you do it. But I don't think, like, listening to behind the uh, what do you call it, like making of videos and whatnot. Like, Eminem is like, I'm not from this guy's world. I don't know how to make movies. And Curtis Hanson had made L.A. Confidential.
Yeah.
This guy knows how to make fucking movies, and he literally, it sounded like he was like, he had a comment in one of these making of that said, we were looking for a title for a movie, and 8 Mile just seemed perfect. And in my opinion, I think he saw a script called 8 Mile, and he thought the movie was perfect before he even fucking decided to direct it. I think this guy's a flim flam, man. I don't think he's a good director.
Man.
I think LA Confidential was great, but
Wonder
I
Boys.
think,
Wonder Boys. Wonder Boys.
Wonder
nope,
Boys.
I hated Wonder Boys,
No, we
but
hate you.
that's me. That's cool. That's fine. We've got this. We've got this. Will they? Won't they? Ever love each other again? Type relationship. I get that. Wonder Boys, I hated, but
Wow.
what else? I mean, this guy.
Okay.
This guy's
River Wild.
he's an aesthete.
Okay, Luke.
Sorry?
I mean, you bring up some good points, and you offer some
And
great detours.
and some bad ones.
I mean, first of all, this is Brian Grazer's baby from Imagine Entertainment. Ronnie
Yeah.
Howard's producing buddy,
Yeah.
and I think you are right. They were looking for like a rap project, and they shopped the script around, and Eminem bit, but Curtis Hanson did put Eminem through a lot of shit, so much to the extent that like the 16-hour shoots caused him to literally get addicted to Ambien and kind of relapsed into prescription drug abuse.
Oh,
and
shit.
that's one of the main reasons why Eminem hasn't been on a set in a long time.
Also, is it possible that had something to do with him actually overdosing and then releasing multiple albums about his fucking relapse and recovery?
Yeah, he's just played White Boy Rick, which I'd be interested to actually check out for 50 Cent.
I thought
Sure.
No. He did not play White Boy Rick.
It's a new miniseries. It's
God.
the
Someone else
McConaughey
played it.
one.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
he's playing him in a new one.
Oh.
But yeah,
That's
and
bad.
I'm not going to tell you that I disliked this performance. I mean,
He's actually
there's
not that bad.
something kind of soulful about him that I like, but
Yeah.
he's mostly either catatonic or pissed off.
There's
And
a lot.
granted,
There's too much pissed off.
Yeah, the material doesn't give him much to do. It's a very stale script, but
Yes.
it's two things. I mean, it's not Mariah Carey and Glitter as a debut, but it's not bad. There's something soulful about it.
Mariah Carey and Glitter. That's actually that is a great comparison, because it's definitely not. And yeah, he does. I mean, he does a serviceable job. I mean, if you're a rapper and you have this one life, you got to do this. dude, how many freaking notes can you pick up as a new actor? It's terrifying. You're an actor and you know what that's like. Somebody tried putting me into a short film and I was like frozen. Absolutely frozen. Couldn't act to save my fucking life. But he was like, "Oh, you're an actor now." I'm like, "No, I'm not. This is ridiculous."
You had said something about like he's got one shot or something, which I imagine was a reference to the song. Did you notice that he's got multiple shots throughout the movie?
Yeah.
Like he chokes and gets another shot,
Yeah.
and
This
well,
contest goes on like every day.
right, and
But
obviously, and then obviously, like the whole thing is about him like beating this one dude at the rap battle fight. But then he's got to do something else after that. So there's going to be more shots for him because we're left thinking, well, this guy's going to be successful now. So his next shot's got to be actually, recording his demo. And then the shot after that will have to be, will I get a single? And it's like, I don't know. I felt like there's a lot of shots going on. I don't know. That was it.
It's about building him up. So
I guess
maybe it's the one last shot until he kind of gives up and says, "This isn't for me. I can't do it." So in that respect, I dig it. But yeah, like you're telling me that like he can't just re-enter the contest next time and try to win. But I got to talk about Detroit because it tells us in the beginning that this is set in 95.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why. Is this like a comment on post Coleman Young and pre Dennis Archer Detroit? Like, why would they bother with that?
No. I think it's when he was battle rapping because he was out of the battle rap scene, and by 2000 he was way done with the battle rap scene.
You're right. It's supposed to like
this is Jimmy. Like,
we're right, but again, it's supposed to be like this weird meta thing where you actually like you're supposed to conflate the character with the guy.
That is what makes it difficult. It does make critique a little difficult because it's definitely a conflation of the two.
And going back to all of the blight,
but there's no reason to set it in 95. They didn't have to.
And going back to all the blight porn, I love that there's one character that they have in the movie who routinely articulates the very real problems in Detroit, in America, in society at large, and for Black Americans, like all this stuff, and like they just constantly shit on the guy for it, because it's all he's capable of saying. Apparently, he's like, imagine having like Henry Rollins in 1990 as your friend. I guess I don't know, but like it's like he's just kind of as a broken record. But still, it's like they all just shit on him for actually making these pretty solid points. Like, okay, I guess this is the social commentary of the movie.
I think the best part in terms of social commentary for this film, in my opinion, is the fact that it sidecars race for for some, even though it's a prima facie type argument about class, it's more about that experience, being poor and trying to get out of being poor. Now, it does have a fucking strange reactionary element because the whole idea of like lose yourself, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, get the fuck out of here is very disturbing to me. The other thing is that, it is like, shoot, I'm losing my train of thought. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and jump in. Yeah,
let me jump in because I think it might be where you were taking it.
Maybe, go for it.
Or close to it, if I may. Because his whiteness is actually presented as an impediment to his success as a rapper because other people don't take him seriously because he's white. I mean, at one point, Mekhi Phifer says, once they hear you rap, it's not going to matter what color you are, which is as close as they get to actually verbalizing one of the obstacles that he deals with, which is the fact that no one takes him seriously because he's a white boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was a comment I was trying to make earlier, which is that his being accepted in that realm, it's like totally contingent upon his ability to be able to like assimilate that other culture. Like he can't be a good rapper unless he's like basically a good fucking sidekick in this world with in the Black community and the rapper community, but at the same time he has to find a way to ascend. And there are so many ways in which this movie tries to justify that, give him license to do it. And I think that's totally fine because the shared experience that actually makes him, that allows me to like see beyond the fucking color line is the fact that like, yeah, he's broke too. They're all fucking broke. So why not him? And if you want to like make an argument about his whiteness giving him an edge in that situation, it does in this movie because this movie is post Eminem. Eminem is a real like rapper going up through the ranks, had a different experience than what we're seeing in this movie, and we already know who Eminem is. So because we fucking know who Eminem is, looking at him in this way is like, yeah, his whiteness does give him that edge. But it didn't before. It didn't when he was actually crawling his ass out of this fucking this pipeline. But also, not everybody wants to leave Detroit, leave their hometown, and like get out of Dodge. It's merely like it's merely a fucking conceit of the film that like being here is terrible, and I fucking hate that too. This movie has so many problems with how it actually deals with the social structures of Detroit, and it says nothing about it at all. It literally kind of like starts in the quote unquote belly of the beast. The way it's like the way uh, uh, Daniel Day Lewis, Blood, Oil. What is that movie?
There will be blood.
Thank you so much. It's like how that starts, where it starts in the mind. You don't really have any like orientation in what you're seeing, and so I think the movie as a movie has many problems, but I don't think these are problems with Eminem as a character. This meta analysis is actually like causing my brain to spin side to side.
Well,
I'm a
I'll tell
little
you
bit
the
all over
problem.
the place, but
The
yeah.
problem is it's like making a movie where like Michael Jordan is the star and he's playing a basketball player, but like instead of like going to Chapel Hill and growing up in North Carolina, he's like growing up in like Japan and like playing for like the Turtles or something. It's like it's such a WTF. These two parallels, they make no sense and they're more confusing than anything. And it wouldn't be a Detroit movie unless someone had to fucking start a house on fire. It's like we're doing that again.
Oh God,
Come
yeah.
on.
Oh yeah, they
I,
showed that too. Yeah,
yeah. And I also like that we are given a counterpoint to white maleness in Cheddar Bob, who's clearly a fine person who doesn't have the most punchable face I've ever seen.
Rabbit's gonna teach me how to write raps.
I
God, why are we stuck with this character?
Got to have the dumb friend to make the main protagonist seem smarter and more together. Come on,
maybe.
it's Steinbeck. Let's do this.
I gotta respect a friend that will the other guy that like will drive him to work at 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, that's a damn good friend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I literally had the same job in Plymouth, Michigan. I stamped I stamped catalytic converter shells. So I put it
Yeah.
on the thing. I stood back when the green light came on. No one yelled up, down like a fucking soldier from the 1800s. but
Metropolis.
I had to fucking hit the green button and it went down, and I did that all fucking day. I
That's
definitely
funny.
couldn't like have someone like work for me. How was that other guy even
No.
gonna get paid? What the fuck was that?
Yeah, I was wondering that too because I also was working in manufacturing when this movie came out, and the way it works is you are assigned a machine, and
You cannot leave.
the output
You have to
is
piss yourself.
right. The output is expected to be a certain degree. You disappear for a couple hours,
Yep.
like
It's
his
over.
buddy's not going to be able to really cover for him. I don't think, but that's fine. It's a film, whatever. It does show that like I like that he wins the rap battle and doesn't go celebrate. I like that he walks back to work. Like there is some maturing for the character. He finds a bit of a balance, which is okay. Like I was just hating this fucking movie basically until he catches Brittany Murphy fucking someone else, and I'm like, oh, okay. Now I felt not that I felt sympathy for the rabbit character. I was again like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? This is ridiculous. Why are you angry right now? But it surprised me, and I did like the tail end of the movie. I thought it kind of stuck the landing. I'll give it that.
Yeah, the entire I feel like the entirety of that everything in that movie just hinged on that. Like if
Yeah.
that didn't stick, that would be a laughing stock of a film. The
Yeah,
entire
it would be
film would be
Secret
a
of the
laughing
Ooze
stock.
level, Secret of the Ooze
Yes.
level fiasco.
Whoa! I'm a fan. Razor and Toka for life, bro.
Yeah, but if Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, Travis, your point about this, like the weird, kind of like meta merging of these two, this like conflation, as I think this informs my opinion about this film more than anything that I've thought in the last 20 years. Like it's not it didn't really seem that problematic to me until we started talking about it today.
Yeah, you know what? That also informs that that IMDb score. Let's be honest, it's 7.3 or 7.1. That's awfully
Yeah.
high. That's awfully high. But
Yeah, movie wise, yeah. Now I'm thinking 6.1 tops.
like you take Eminem out of this movie and put in Devon Sawa, right? You put in Devon Sawa,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
does it have even close to the acclaim? Does it have? I mean, even if he rapped as
Well,
good as
now it's too
Eminem,
that's too meta, by the way, when you do that.
right?
Well,
I guess
Too many levels.
you're right. My mind went to Sawa for a reason.
yeah. For a reason.
I didn't realize it, but you're right. Like, so you put in Michael Shannon. Fuck it. Uh, Michael Shannon rapping, which I
Oh
can
my
actually
God.
kind of see.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
Make that movie.
it's not even that. Like you take out Curtis Hanson, an accomplished filmmaker,
Mm-hmm.
and especially Rodrigo Prieto, the DP, who did
DP,
fucking
yeah.
25th Hour, 21 Grams, Amos Peros. And if it's a cheap looking film that doesn't look professional and slick, then it's really a head scratcher.
No, you're right. It does look really, really good. I mean, how else could you watch someone pantomime rapping in front of a mirror and think that they look cool doing it?
I I would actually recommend everybody to watch the behind the scenes making of. I actually still haven't pulled up, but it's one with who produced it? Silver, is that who it
Grazer.
was?
Great Grazer and
Grazer,
Howard.
Grazer, Grazer, Brian
I don't
Grazer,
know.
yeah.
I forget the other person.
Um,
Grazer and Howard.
I would definitely recommend watching that. The way they talk about making this movie and putting it together is just it'll make your stomach turn if you have had any familiarity whatsoever with what it's like to kind of like be on your fucking last dime and trying to fucking survive and and you're familiar with the area, like it's fucking disgusting. These guys are goddamn predators. These
Luke.
Yeah.
Man, that's harsh.
these fucking Hollywood producers are fucking predators.
Jesus
Dude,
Christ.
if you're in an area like I don't know who the fuck if you're in Detroit and you see people rolling down the streets with big producer trucks with fucking camera equipment, run. Just get the fuck out.
Luke.
It's exploitation time.
Okay.
It's true.
Damn.
And that's what they did. And they did that to Eminem too. And like that's why that meta thing is so difficult to fucking wrap your mind around. Because I keep wanting to like put him in that situation, but it's not him, it's a fucking character.
It's Rabbit.
And it's a fucking shortcoming of the script. The script is fucking garbage. And
It all
at least they did let some bleed through of like working class suffering that was part of
more than you'd
that
think.
solidarity.
More than you would think. It all absolutely hinged on Eminem, and that's why I say it was a cash grab, because that's
Yep.
it's the song, it's the performer, which lots of movies hinge on the main actor, and I don't mean to fault it for that, but I'm just saying that I don't think that people love this movie because they love the story.
Yeah.
I think that people love this movie because they love Eminem.
Yeah.
The story.
Even the song, like this is why original song is a tough one, because we got a song that's not even in the movie. It's just in the end credits. It wins the Oscar. It's a good song. Let's be honest. But like, it's not even in the film. He's not even like a singer. Like it. Like
The music is it's the last thing that he raps over.
yeah. You got a good point. Also, there's way too many half bro hugs in this movie. I think I counted about 2 million. Like that was the only way for them to like show like the friendship is just them doing the fucking half bro hug every like 5 seconds.
I'm glad that Anthony Mackie's character turned out to be like from wealth and stuff, because I'm really just not buying him in this role at all. But I also think it's hilarious that like the fact that Clarence's parents were happily married, like that's an
It's
insult.
amazing.
Like, fuck you, you
Yes.
didn't come from a broken home, asshole. Like, gee.
No, you might be misinterpreting that. I mean, it's just pointing out the fact that like this guy is going to talk shit about me, but this guy comes from a perfectly fucking happy family. I didn't.
Okay, but
I've got fucking problems,
but
and
that guy
I'm
can
talking about
easily
'em.
turn around and say that you enjoy white privilege. Wherever I go, my people are
He
judging me by the
could, but
color of my skin.
it wouldn't even compare to the class privilege that he's had.
Yeah. I mean, you could easily say, look.
Are you kidding me? Cranbrook costs
Uh-oh,
like
uh-oh, Class Warrior.
$40,000.
Here we
Class
go.
Warrior coming out.
Cranbrook has its own fucking
You know what? I'll
museum.
wear that badge. If we're gonna fight about this, we can do it.
Oh, let's do it.
I'll
Come
see.
at us, bro.
I'll see you in virtual fight. Can we do that? Can we
No,
put,
we obviously will rap fight. Are you fucking kidding me? We're not going to physically
Oh,
fight.
we get a rap battle. We get a rap battle about
Obviously.
class and what your culture identitarian stuff.
Let's do it, man.
We can do
you gotta
that.
fix your duct work because
You can talk about identitarian stuff. I'll talk about actual class things that actually matter.
Okay.
And then we can fight it out.
My point is just that to make a comment about someone coming like someone's parents are happily married is not an insult. I don't even know what that has to do with fucking class at all.
It's just funny. It's a funny fucking rap battle line.
Clarence rhymes with marriage, sort of. That's it.
And Eminem is good at doing that. Slant rhymes.
Yeah, he rhymes hotel with now at one point in the movie.
Which means he does a great job.
No, it means he says hotel like hotel and now like nah. That's what it means, because that's literally what happens.
It's a slant rhyme.
It's slanted. I'll tell you what, the best part of the movie
I don't know anything about fucking hip hop.
The best part of the movie is the Leonard Skinner moment until they start rapping over it.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, that's cringeworthy.
How about Makai's dreadlocks? I mean, it's weird to see him with so much hair.
High five.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Never saw him with hair until this movie.
I think it's the only movie he has.
And even in the past, like I saw it recently and I was like, holy shit, I've never seen him with hair.
That's what I'm saying. He looks so weird.
Except
with all
for this fucking movie, yeah.
And he's got a ton of it. It's funny. It's almost like, is that real? What's going on here? Like, you never do this.
He's got predator locks.
Oh.
He's got straight predator locks.
Want some candy?
Want the battle? Well, where do we go from here, man? You said it all. Kim Basinger's terrible accent.
Did you remember she was even in this? I did
Basinger?
not.
Oh,
yes.
I did remember, actually.
That blew me away. Like, well, the first scene I saw her, oh my God, Kim Basinger's in this movie.
She's almost not bad in it if it weren't for that accent and a lot of the overacting moments of the drama, like the big drama moments. She kind of goes too big, but like there are some like the calmer moments she does okay. It's like actually kind of nice to see Kim Basinger, but you know that Curtis Hanson tapped her because like, hey, we had a nice time making LA Confidential, and you need money.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't even know why I didn't connect those two fucking dots. That's obviously.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They had to connect. There had to be some sort of relationship there. Cause I mean,
I'm really no longer confused. Which is the first time in a while that I'm no longer confused.
So rarely does any of us get to say that.
Oh man.
Well, should we do the rounds and see what everybody thinks?
Yeah, I might as well wrap it up.
Well, Eric, you chose this film. I think you should lead us off.
Well, to anyone out there that does enjoy the film, we're glad. I mean, we've cracked a lot of jokes and we've come at it aggressively, but I think dynamically. It was a huge film. And I'm sure it inspired a lot of people in ways that maybe we can't understand or we're not emphasizing in a way that makes sense to you in your own experience. But for me, this is it's a stale script. I mean, it's got some good points. Most notably, Heartland's own Blair Whiteman predominantly featured in his olive green sweater. But there's just not much to the story that I haven't seen before, especially in an underdog story, man. And uh, for the majority of the film, we just got a bunch of brats on the fucking playground, and it just doesn't seem mature. And I think that's what bugs me here at this age in my life, to see a movie that doesn't have enough to say when it definitely should when it comes to this genre of music and storytelling. I mean, sure, I'll give you that. Slant rhyming is a form of artistry. And yeah, there's something there. I mean, there's not, name another movie that dabbles in it. Okay, so there's originality there.
Okay.
There's just too much asinine trash for me. I mean, what is this guy's problem? He's got a hot mom and like a dumb friend. Like, what is this guy's problem? He's got a job. Yeah, you got fired from Little Caesars, but you've got two women after you. What is the deal here? It doesn't hold up for me, man. It looks good, and it's got some decent performances, but there's not much for me to chew on 20 years later, man. It doesn't hold up.
All right. Doesn't hold up for Eric. I'll go next. We'll have our guest round us out here.
Thank you.
I watched this movie when it came out, not in theaters. So I saw it in early 2003 and went, oh, that sucked. And then 20 years of my life passed, and I started a podcast, and Eric made me watch it again. And I went, oh, that still sucks. So again, I think, Eric, you make great points about how, if you do enjoy this movie, you are seeing things that we don't see. And I do think that there's probably plenty. Again, I am clearly biased against this film for a variety of reasons. It's just not for me. So I don't think that anyone is surprised by my response here to say that it doesn't hold up. I will say that it did surprise me in a few places. Eminem's performance was better than I thought it would be. That I was surprised by a couple things that he didn't need, new love to inspire him and move forward, that he actually was able to kind of do stuff on his own, singly. I thought that was cool. So there is moments here, and I can see why someone would appreciate it, especially if it hit you at a certain age, where maybe you needed a message about believing in yourself and that kind of stuff, and where you could relate to characters with this kind of juvenile behavior. But for me personally, it's just I can't relate to it, and I find it extremely juvenile. And I hope everyone that enjoys it continues to enjoy it. Just far away from me. Doesn't hold up.
All right, Luke. So what do you think, man? Again, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah,
and
man.
You bring up some great points that are totally welcome, but break it down for us, man. Sum it up. Where are you at this point?
It's totally welcome, but I was waiting for you to give me a zinger. Yeah, I was waiting for a zinger. After talking to you guys, I'm lowering my IMDb viewpoint here. Probably, I went from thinking this would be like an 8, just in my opinion, down to at least a 6, or at max a 6. I thought, you know what? I'm breaking it down to a 5 or a 4. I'm very pissed. I'm very pissed off. I'm actually very pissed off now at the at Curtis Hanson and who the fuck wrote it again? John Silver.
Scott Silver.
Yeah, John Scott Silver. All right, it's insanely stupid. The screenplay is completely end loaded for this freaking rap battle, and that was the entirety of everybody in that executive room. That's the only thing they thought about, and the only reason they did that is because they're coming out of the 90s, where like this rap thing was a fucking thing that they needed to fucking cash in on.
Yeah.
And to your points earlier, that's 100% correct. And so, who should we pick? They pick the white rapper, and that is probably the most. That is probably the whiteness factor that
Egregious.
I am not going to argue against. They picked the white rapper who was ascending. That's, instead of picking Dre, for instance. They made that Dre movie. They made that fucking Eazy-E movie way later.
Oh yeah, way later.
So many years later, they use their own goddamn kids in the goddamn movie. So straight out of Compton, and that says a lot, and that says a lot about how the film industry works. It works literally in that way. It is purely based on, extracting value out of, whatever kind of cultural fucking totems are out there, and that's the one. That was
Yeah.
the one. In
Salacious.
2000, 2001, that was the fucking thing. Eminem, man, like 90, it was 98, 99. He was the biggest goddamn thing in music, like MTV back when it was music videos. Eminem. And he's still the biggest thing in fucking rap, like in terms of not only like respect across the board. Well, a lot of people don't, but sales. He he is still that draw. If they were to bring that movie back to him again as a sequel, it would still be a fucking viable option. And that kind of scares me because I do not want to see that fucking movie.
So it doesn't hold up?
Where this is a Rotten Tomatoes 50-50 thing. It holds up for me because it holds up for me because it is not a blatant it is not blatantly against kind of class dynamics. To me, that was the one thing that made the movie work. I think the obsession that we have now with race and cultural identity politics is absolutely silly, and to me, that's childish. And so I think this is more mature than that. So I think it holds up, but I don't think the bar is high at all. So that's it.
There it is. We've said it all. And now, Travis, it's that time
Ooh.
again. You look disappointed.
I'm just
He's annoyed about what I said.
I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not annoyed at what you said. I'm just like, I mean, I think I need to listen a little more clearly because I think I may have misheard you or misunderstood, and then you said something somewhat, about race that I'm like, wait a minute, did you just say that arguing that discussing race is juvenile? Because obviously
Yeah.
you think that discussing race is juvenile.
Oh gosh. No, I think it's more juvenile in compared to discussing class. I think discussing race obviously is important. Of course, we understand that we all live in a fucking world that was defined by that. Every fucking territory we sit in has been carved by that. We understand, we understand that, but the obsession and the absolute fetishization of race and culture is absolutely fucking overlooking the real dynamics underneath, which are class dynamics, which are the things that actually fucking. I'm not a class essentialist. I think it's both and as opposed to either or.
Okay,
So
well,
I shouldn't have said juvenile. Thinking, I don't know, you probably can clip that out, but I shouldn't have said juvenile, but I think every fucking movie I see now is like a goddamn testament to the laziness of our fucking own ability to like process our own environments. And there is nothing that's being said that's new anymore. It's like Black History Month viewing on HBO Max. Like that is part of Black History Month now. That is part of February. Is that they're just gonna pump out a bunch of stuff that is not actually going to even appreciate the fact that like literally every one of these guys, these men and women had a very strongly held political fucking belief about fucking socialism and Marxism
sure.
and all that.
I think it's
It's
important.
whitewashing. All when I say juvenile, I mean like most of the stuff about race is literally only about race, and that is whitewashing out all of the politics and the things that actually motivated any of these people to do any of the things that they're doing.
Okay. So let's get ready and discuss what our next film will be. Govier is not here with us today, so he can't tell us what he's chosen. But Luke, I
That's
believe
true.
he's told you.
Oh yeah, it's just I'm gonna keep it a secret. I'll tell you guys later.
All right. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. Well,
It's the movie for next week is 1998's Hurly Burly.
Oh, there it is. Finally.
Hurly
You
Burly,
come to it.
another
Hurly
dump
Burly.
classic.
I
Another
can't believe you guys haven't done this one yet.
Yeah, me neither. Hurly
That
Burly,
kind of
man. Tits in your ass.
blows my mind.
Wow.
I have strong feelings about this movie, and which is why I wouldn't have picked it.
I actually commented back to Govier using quotes from you from 1998.
About Hurly Burly.
Oh man.
Yes. Well, when he said it to me, I thought he was texting to the group, and so I responded thinking that you were on it, but no.
Oh,
Hurly Burly.
Hurly
That
Burly.
was watched as almost as much as Rounders.
Ravenous. And Good Will
Yes,
Hunting.
and Ravenous and Good Will Hunting.
And Deconstructing Harry.
Yes, yes. That's it. Yep.
Hurly
Rounders,
Burly.
Ravenous,
We've
Good
talked
Will
about
Hunting.
all
Oh my
those other.
God.
Yeah, we've talked about all those other movies on this podcast some, and how we watched them ad nauseum. We haven't properly discussed Hurly Burly and its role in all this. So I'm glad that he's chosen it. I'm ready to put eyes on it again. Great call, Mike. Great call.
Yeah.
Luke, thank you again for jumping in last minute and helping us out here. It's always a pleasure to have you on board and
Thank
discuss class and everything else with you, like class
Shut
and
up.
also class and sometimes even class. I love you, buddy. Thank you so much. They will.
Love you
There
too.
is no will, they won't we. We will.
Well, why won't if anybody has any problems with anything that I've said, please DM Mike Govier
Yep.
at what Palazzo Podcast or wherever the fuck, I don't know. I don't even know how to
The
reach him.
Pod, you can get us. And
Yeah.
if you enjoyed what Luke has to say and his insights, again, the name of the podcast that he has with Mike Govier and some other gentlemen is called Is It Safe? Strongly recommend that you give that a shot. Give them a listen. Anything else, Luke, before we say our goodbyes?
Yeah, don't take me too seriously when I say things like something is juvenile. We can all take a step back. We can all take a step back
Again,
and
I should have been
relax.
listening more carefully. I was like, wait a minute, did he just wait? What? So I mean,
Yeah, let's take a step back. Sometimes I speak a little bit out of turn, but yeah, love you guys. I love race and I love culture,
Luke loves racing culture, guys.
and and I love class too. I mean, I love going to class and
Don't
learning
lose
about
yourself,
race and
you know?
culture. It's fucking fantastic. Yeah, don't lose yourself.
Or don't lose
find yourself.
Wow.
You have to
Mute
find
yourself.
yourself.
Mute
Yeah.
yourself.
Spaghetti.
Yeah, mute yourself.
Mute yourself.
Yeah, mute
All right.
yourself is probably the best way to go.
Mhm.
We will do this again next week,
All right.
presumably with the regular 3. We are a Cinema 9 podcast. Again, please rate and review. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Adios.
Adios.